The patrol ship drifted above a world that human charts marked as Green 4. The crew expected a quiet survey, yet the sensors kept flickering with faint energy traces. Among the crew stood a man named Rowland, a calm and steady officer who preferred simple routines over dramatic discoveries. He had joined the mission to help map safer travel routes for future explorers. He never imagined that the quiet world below would push him into a story that no training manual could prepare him for. Green 4 had no registered settlements. It held no known trading outposts. Still, the planet's strange readings pulled the team closer. Rowland volunteered to lead the landing team, partly out of duty, and partly because he felt a gentle curiosity that he could not name. The shuttle descended through soft clouds until the forest canopy unfolded like a vast green ocean. Many worlds held forests, yet this one seemed unusually vibrant, as if every leaf carried a soft inner glow. The landing team stepped out and began scanning the surroundings. The air tasted crisp. Rowland listened to the forest as if it spoke in a language of rustling leaves and distant hums. He noticed faint marks on the soil, like prints left by small feet. In a clearing, he spotted a shimmer, almost like a heat mirage, yet cooler in color. When he approached, the shimmer flickered away, revealing a small figure curled beside a fallen branch, the childlike being startled when it sensed him. It had smooth, pale skin, large, luminous eyes, and delicate limbs. Rowland raised both hands gently to show that he meant no harm. The small alien made a soft sound that reminded him of a frightened animal seeking shelter. It tried to move but winced, clutching one leg. The others in his team cautiously kept their distance, unsure of how to respond. But Rowland knelt beside the little one. He examined the injury. The leg had a swollen joint, as if twisted earlier. Rowland did not touch it without permission. He simply offered a water pouch and waited. The young alien sniffed the air, eyes wide with uncertainty. After a quiet moment, it reached out to accept the pouch. That small gesture told Rowland the situation had shifted. Helping a young being in need was an instinct he carried deeply, regardless of species or politics. Rowland radioed his team to stand down with slow movements so the child would not panic. He used simple gestures to ask if he could look at the leg. The small alien hesitated, then allowed it. Using his portable splint, he secured the limb to prevent further harm. The child relaxed slightly, making soft clicks that sounded like gratitude. Rowland felt an unusual warmth in his chest at the trust given to him by this fragile stranger. The team scanned the area for signs of a settlement. They found none. No structures. No tools. Not even pathways. They wondered if the young alien had wandered far from a hidden community. Rowland decided they could not leave the child alone, not with an injury that would prevent safe movement. The forest sounds had grown louder. Something unseen rustled in the distance, raising concern among the crew. Rowland picked up the child carefully and carried it toward the shuttle dot. Inside the shuttle, the child looked around with awe. It seemed fascinated by the humming panels and soft lights. Rowland strapped it in gently before taking his seat. As the shuttle ascended, he saw the young alien watching him with those glowing eyes full of trust. He wondered what situation had led the child to be stranded and alone. Every instinct tugged at him, urging him to protect the small being until answers emerged. Back aboard the patrol ship, the medical team conducted a gentle scan. No invasive tools were used. They identified the species as one unlisted in human databases. Exobiologists muttered about how extraordinary this find could be, yet Rowland focused only on the child's comfort. When the crew grew too curious, the young alien sought Rowland and held on to his sleeve, hiding behind him with shy urgency. Rowland shielded it from overwhelming attention and asked the crew to keep their distance until the little one felt safe. In the following hours, the child grew calmer. Rallin showed it how to drink warm broth and rest on the medical cot. Soft bioluminescent patterns glowed on its skin when it felt secure. Rallin wondered what these patterns meant. Maybe they were emotional signals or cultural markers. Whatever the reason, he found them comforting. He stayed within sight so the child would not feel abandoned. The ship's captain approved a search for adult members of the species. Rallin returned to the planet with a small team. They followed faint energy trails deeper into the forest. After several hours, the air shifted with a low harmonic hum that vibrated through their suits. A massive figure stepped out from behind a luminous tree. Her presence was striking. She stood taller than any human, her form sleek and strong, her eyes vast and shimmering with layered color. Patterns of light rippled along her skin in complex ways. The adult alien raised her arms defensively. The team froze. Rallin slowly stepped forward with empty hands. He played a recorded sound from the ship's logs, capturing the soft clicks the young one had made earlier. The giant alien froze. Her colors shifted. She stepped closer with a powerful grace that made the ground tremble faintly beneath Rallin's boots. She spoke in melodic tones, and though the translator struggled, one meaning emerged clearly. She was the mother. Rallin bowed his head slightly. He showed her a hologram of the child resting peacefully in the medical unit. The mother watched intently, her glowing eyes softening. She placed one massive hand over her chest in what Rallin assumed was a gesture of thanks. But she did not let them leave immediately. She motioned for Rallin to follow her deeper into the forest. The crew hesitated. Still, Rallin signaled that he would go alone. The mother moved with silent certainty, guiding him to a hidden cavern woven from thick roots and glowing crystals. Inside, etched markings told a silent story. Rallin recognized a depiction of starships descending, then flames, then fleeing figures. He understood. These people had survived a past conflict with an unknown aggressor. They had adapted by masking their settlements and limiting contact with the outsiders. The mother touched a symbol, showing a small figure separated from the rest. Her sorrow was unmistakable. Rallin realized that her child had become lost during a sudden migration. The forest, though beautiful, held natural hazards that a young one might not navigate alone. She must have searched everywhere. Then her colors shifted again, forming patterns that the translator interpreted as gratitude toward the human who protected her young got. At her invitation, Rallin returned with her to the ship. When she stepped into the hangar, the entire crew stared in awe. Her presence filled the space with brilliant harmonics that vibrated through the metal walls. When she saw her child, she knelt and extended her arms. The child brightened with radiant joy, patterns glowing across its skin as it rushed into her embrace. They communicated in soft tones that rippled like gentle music. The mother turned to Rallin again. She placed her hand above her heart, then touched his shoulder with great care. The translator struggled, but one phrase cracked through. She wanted him, not in possession or claim, but in the sense of a chosen guardian, an honored protector, a bridge between their species. She wished for him to join them on their world for a time, so the small one could rest safely, and so their people could learn the nature of humankind through someone who had shown kindness without expectation. The captain allowed Rallin to decide. He needed time to think. Joining an unknown species even temporarily carried risk. Yet when he saw the small child clinging gently to its mother, while still glancing toward him with hopeful eyes, his hesitation weakened. He thought about how fear often shaped first contact between civilizations. Humans had made mistakes across the stars. This moment offered a chance to show something better. Rallin accepted. A new shuttle route formed between the patrol ship and the hidden forest enclave. The mother's people revealed themselves in careful steps. They were luminous beings, who shaped their homes through living vines and crystal growths. They communicated with layered harmonics and shifting patterns of light. Their children played among floating spores that glowed like tiny lanterns. They welcomed Rowland, studying his movements, listening to his voice, learning his manner of care. Rowland discovered that the young child he rescued, now called Loma by the translation system, was unusually curious about humans. Loma watched him with bright interest, asking simple questions through gestures and musical tones. Rowland taught Loma how to use a simple drawing pad. Loma taught Rowland how to interpret basic color patterns. They formed a quiet bond that deepened each day. The mother, named Rowland in soft harmonics that the translator interpreted as Mira, spent much time observing him as well. She asked questions about human families, human fears, and human hopes. Rowland answered honestly. He told her that humans often feared what they did not understand. He told her that kindness did not always need reward. Mira listened with calm attention. She shared pieces of her people's past, explaining how they had fled from a destructive threat long ago and avoided outsiders ever since as weeks passed. Rowland served as a bridge between both groups. Human scientists learned from Mira's people without forcing demands. Mira's people shared their wisdom without secrecy born from fear. Through Rowland's example, the two sides found trust. He often walked between glowing trees with Loma, feeling the forest hum beneath his feet. One evening, Mira guided him to a high terrace where crystal branches overlooked the forest. The sky shimmered with drifting lights like floating fireflies. Mira produced a small crystal disk that pulsed with gentle warmth. She offered it to him as a symbol of shared guardianship. She told him her people believed that beings who protected the young carried hearts that shaped the future. Rowland accepted the gift with deep respect. Before he returned to his patrol ship the next day, Loma hugged him tightly. Mira placed her hand on his shoulder again. Their silent understanding carried more meaning than any translation could explain. He promised to return. They promised he would always be welcome as friend and guardian. When the patrol ship eventually left orbit, Rowland watched the glowing world shrink beneath him. He felt changed in ways he could not yet describe. What began as a rescue had grown into a bond between species. In quiet moments, he thought of Loma learning to draw, or Mira teaching him harmonic phrases. He thought of how fear had given way to trust, and how trust shaped hope. Weeks later, the patrol ship received a gentle signal from Green 4, a harmonic tone that only Rowland recognized. Mira and Loma were calling him back, not out of need or desperation, but out of friendship. Rowland smiled and felt a warm certainty settle in his chest. Humanity often sought its place among the stars through strength. Yet sometimes the greatest strength came from protecting someone small and gaining a family in return. He requested a new course set toward Green 4. The captain approved without hesitation. The crew smiled knowingly. Rowland prepared for another journey to the world where he had become more than a visitor. He had become a guardian, a friend, and a witness to the gentle courage that both species could share. As the ship aligned for descent once more, Rowland looked out at the luminous clouds of Green 4. He thought of the young one waiting with bright eyes, and the mother, whose trust had reshaped the future between their peoples. He felt ready for whatever came next, not as a soldier or explorer, but as someone chosen to protect a child who had once been an enemy only by circumstance and who had become a symbol of hope for both worlds. Rowland stepped into the shuttle with calm resolve. He knew the path ahead would not always be easy. Still, he carried a quiet certainty that kindness had already changed the course of many lives. As the shuttle dipped through the atmosphere, he welcomed the glowing forest rising to meet him. It felt like returning home.